let's start by talking about the Guns of Eden. This is a thrilling movie. It's got a lot of action in it. Are you used to doing a lot of action?
No, I mean I had done like some minor stunts. This is my first action movie though.
Hmm.
Because this is a full-on action movie. It's not like, oh, this stunt where someone falls or someone gets hit. This is like all of it. So this was my first experience doing action.
And how does it feel to be America's #1 action star?
It was really fun to do the movie. It was really, really fun to get to do an action movie specifically. I hadn't really thought about it too much. With a lot of my acting, I get put into drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been told before that I seemed dangerous by like acting teachers, and that I'm a little bit taller and I have like more of I had been told I have the kind of stature for it, but
Mm-hmm.
it had never really happened. So yeah, it was really, really cool to be able to do that and to like feel so empowered in a role.
When you do take on roles, do you look for something that's a little physical, though? I mean, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I definitely always trend towards like some action thriller drama. That's kind of the world we live in. My favorite, kind of dramas are always thrillers too. The drama thriller duo, which has a tendency to be more active.
Did you start as a model? Did you start on the theatrical stage?
Well, I technically did start stage. It was just in high school. So in high school, we had like our theater program, and we would travel sometimes with our stuff. That's when I first started acting. So I did learn, especially all of the basics. I learned it on stage, and with stage. Towards the last year, I became more interested in like film as well. So I started learning like filmmaking. And then I was also, doing some short films in high school. And then I ended up getting into the Film Academy in New York.
Wow.
So I had the option to go for an all acting school or an acting and film school. And I went for an acting and film school just because I had noticed that was the place where a lot of the stuff that I would do in my acting, sometimes it would get missed on stage. Unless it was like a black box theater,
Yeah.
but on a bigger stage, it would get missed. And then on a camera, it got picked up. So I had a tendency to trend towards film.
There's different nuances in film and on stage, where
Mm-hmm.
on stage you're always playing to the back of the house. Camera is very intimate, and it even catches, just a slight blink of your eye, and so
Yeah.
all that has to be trained.
Right. And those were some of the bigger differences, is that I was in, when my natural impulses were internalizing a lot of the situation, of the scene. It wasn't like I need to show everyone what I'm doing. I was more internalizing it so people could see what was going on with me. And the camera had a tendency to pick that up more, especially, as a newer actor. I didn't, I wasn't as trained as I am now. So I noticed there, like, the stuff got picked up more than on a stage. But I think on a stage is some of the like best acting training that you could do.
Yeah, I fully agree. It also humbles you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of actors, and believe me, I've been doing this for a long time, that have never gone on stage, and they have kind of an aristocratic, kind of feel to them, where stage actors who have, picked up brooms and swept and,
Yeah.
dressed other actors in the back, it humbles you, and it makes you probably, I think, more elastic in your acting.
Yeah. I would totally agree with you. Because to be honest, like, acting really isn't about ego.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of people that started with just film and just do film, and I see it as a disadvantage to only have ever known the film world, because
Yeah.
I think acting was born in the theater world. As
Yeah.
much as I don't currently do theater now, I think that is some of the most enriching experiences I had as an actor, learning to do plays, stage work, older work, and to learn just like the basic of like performance.
Yeah. And a lot of actors go back to to the stage after a while, just because they start to lose themselves a little bit in everything. And memory is an amazing thing. I mean, I know you memorize scripts and all that, but memorizing a play is a whole different muscle.
Entirely different thing.
Was it on stage in high school that you got the acting bug officially?
Yeah, it was definitely then that I realized. It was actually in my first drama class ever. I remember the moment I realized it. It was like everyone was doing it as an elective. We were all freshmen, and we were reading text. I think it was like some Shakespeare. I can't remember exactly what the text was, but I'm pretty sure it was like Shakespearean. And like we were all supposed to recite it to each other. It was a very intro to acting kind of activity. And I was like, able to do it. It wasn't just a recitation. It was like real. It was alive. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. To the point where like, I could really skip a lot of the intro stuff. So I found it very enriching, just like, athletes say, like they use it as their outlet. And, that became my outlet for, there's always been, it feels like, and my acting teacher actually says this, which I think is wonderful. He says, like, we all have the universe inside of us. It always felt like that, especially as a kid, as a teenager. It felt like from a young age, it always felt like I had like everything inside of me and I didn't know how to get it out. And that became like the most amazing way to get it out.
When did you earn your SAG card?
Pretty recently, actually. It was like within the past year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now that you're doing some major films.
Yeah.
Let's get back to Guns of Eden, because this is a very interesting film, especially, for a woman to take on the role of what would 5-6 years ago have been a man's role.
Yeah.
Are you okay with guns, and was there a lot of safety training?
Yes, it's funny because Rust actually happened right after we shot Guns of Eden, and then we went into shooting another movie that we had some guns in too. So we were lucky to have like a really good, like, I think they're called the armor, the person that handles the weapons and stuff. He was really, really on point with all the safety. There's a safety check before each weapon is handed out. Safety checks say, hey, this is cold. Like it's, we weren't using blanks. So these guns were all cold. And it was all done in post. Yeah. So that's great. That makes it a lot safer. If you're using blanks, that's the one that always gets a little scary.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Tell me a little bit about your character, Megan, because she goes through a whole lot in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she grows a lot. She kind of gains a little bit more of a purpose in this. As weird as the situation is, she starts off, we find out that a lot of what she does was to, please family, and it wasn't really what she thought. It wasn't for her, it was for them. And throughout it, she's obviously motivated by the situation around her that she has to now survive and protect. And all this training that she's had over the years gets finally put to good use. So she finds herself in this a lot, which is cool because she's very, very lost in the beginning. There are some inciting incidents that happen that really thrust her into being more lost. But even before that, she's very lost with what she's doing and who she is, and it's incredibly relatable. And then she finds herself, and I think the cool part, and I was actually, I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. I think the character's cool because she wasn't like this fragile feminine thing ever. She wasn't like this overtly feminine creature. I actually said before they had made that statement, I had said she's kind of a gender neutral character.
Yeah.
You know, the way she deals with life, the way she deals with her partner, the way she deals with her job, she doesn't really act like she's a girl or, you know, specifically a female. She's just a person. And I think that's a really cool thing in a female action character to have, that she is a woman. Like, it's not that she doesn't look like a woman. She just isn't acting a different way because of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Does music play a role in you getting into character? Do you have a soundtrack you listen to? And
no, I actually have never. I tried that early on, like really early on in my like learning the craft, and music will get me into it one time, but that doesn't work for film. So like, it could get me into it one time, but I would really have to listen to it simultaneously, which doesn't work on set either. So it's all pretty much imagination for me. Like that became my big actor breakthrough, on how I can, you know, get to the places I need to get to and connect really quickly and do it again and replicate, was imagination. Though I think music is super helpful if you're doing like, if I were doing like a play or a really, really long scene, I wouldn't say that music would never be helpful. I think it is. I think that sometimes like you have a connection to a song, and if you wear it out, which would happen to me, is I would listen to it once and it would break me and I wouldn't have that same connection again. So I had to learn to manipulate my own brain to do it.
I would imagine though that costuming plays a big part in informing your character.
Yeah, I think costuming is huge. To, you know, you feel like the character, especially, you know, with this one, like you've got guns and like tactical boots and pants, you know, like that, this whole vibe. And she had like a satchel and like a crossbow. Like there's a lot of that not only informs you emotionally, but physically informs you of like how you need to be standing and what your physicality is as this person. You know, that it's definitely a huge thing. Yeah.
Do you enjoy seeing yourself on screen? A lot of people don't.
Yeah, I know it's I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. And when I was really little, I remember hearing Johnny Depp doesn't ever watch himself on camera. And I was like, yeah, because why? That's like messed up if you want to watch yourself on camera. So then I said that early on. I was like, you know, 18, 19. I'm like, yeah, I can't watch myself. And then the world of self-tape started. And I was like, noticing that every time I watched myself, I got better because I was informed, you know, more informed about my performance and what I was doing and how it was translating. So I got over that pretty quickly because I noticed that it could like really thrust me forward in my craft. So, you know, watching the movie now, I'm like, I have no issue watching, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, other people watching it, because like that's a character, that's not me. So it's funny for me to see people watch it and then meet me. That's like the funny experience, but watching it for myself, it doesn't really bother me too much anymore.
But driving down, let's say, Times Square and seeing yourself, you know, on that poster, you know, that's
be a little weird.
Yeah,
that would be a little weird. Like that actually is weirder for me, is seeing the posters and stuff. And like seeing it as like profile pictures. That's the weirder part for me, rather than seeing like, you know, the movie going.
Yeah, because I mean, you're looking at a performance. The other one, you're just looking at a picture that's enticing people to come see your performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about your cast, because everybody in this was so good. It was a great casting.
Yeah, it was a really good cast. So I think almost all of the cast, maybe minus a few people, including myself, are Buffalo locals. So the director, Greg, is from Buffalo, and you know, this was really very much a Buffalo film, and all the crew was local, and I think majority of the cast was local as well. And it really turned out like, and I think he took a long time casting this one. And you know, he's talked about like difficulties with certain characters because, you know, it's just not a super saturated market up there. So you have to really weed through to find people.
Well, did you get over to the Anchor Bar and have some wings?
Oh, I did actually. One night after set. I went with our production designer, I think. Yeah, because I said I wanted to try the wings, and I actually love the beer up there.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with like the Buffalo breweries, which is like, kind of stupid, but like, I don't know why. I tried one beer from there. It was a Buffalo local. Like, I really like IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is like the best IPA I've ever had. So then I went on like the whole month we were up there. I was like, I need to try a new one.
Do you enjoy doing comedy?
I don't not enjoy it. I just really haven't done it a lot. Like this actually, it's funny because none of us really realized how funny it was going to be until, it came out. And we're like, this is hilarious. But no, I don't really do comedy that much. I have kind of like a dry sense of humor. And like my acting teacher did tell me one time I am funny, but that was never like the primary thing that I was. It was like, hey, you're also kind of funny. It wasn't like you're the funny girl, because if I tell a joke, it's not funny.
Well, I think all those things that make you a kick-ass action star could also make you a kick-ass comedian on film. Especially if you get the jokes and all that. I mean, it's just a lovely thing. A lot of women today do not want to be Lucy, and they refuse to get a pie in the face or this or that. But I think there are those few that can really pull that off, and it seems to me like you can.
Yeah, I think because I think that aspect is that I just don't really care. Like, I don't care if I look ugly on, and that's for majority of this movie, I do not look good at all.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but
yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're into, but like from the traditional beauty standards, I don't look great in this movie. And that was on purpose because I thought it was more authentic. But I agree with you. I was watching a whole documentary on like I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball and Ricky and stuff. And it was talking about how she was fearless. And that was the thing that made her so amazing to watch. And I've just never looked into comedy ever. And it's never just been the world that I lived in. I tend to gravitate towards like edgy, darker stuff. Just because that's what I like, but it doesn't necessarily mean I couldn't do it. And watching that documentary is exactly what you're saying, where there's a lot of respect for the women that can, women especially, that are willing to do that and have that, on camera forever, have a pie in the face or, do something that they don't look great. So I have a lot of respect for it.
You're absolutely right. This film has a sense of fun about it that is just almost ethereal. You just enjoy watching this.
Yeah. I remember the first time my boyfriend saw the movie, we couldn't stop laughing. And it's not, it was just because he was like, this is like, it's hilarious because you just killed like 15 people, And I'm like, and I was laughing too, because it's like a video game. Like you're in it and it's like you're playing a video game watching the movie. And I think that adds so much to it rather than just like taking itself so seriously. It's just like willing to laugh with everyone too and say like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's very fast paced in that as well. But the characters still develop, and you have a sense of who they are right from the beginning. So, it's well done that way.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be hopping behind the camera and directing soon?
As of right now, no. I want to do a little bit more in front before I hop behind. I have actually directed smaller stuff, and I've produced, but right now the primary focus is definitely in front of the camera and really, really honing that. And then afterwards, I'll probably jump behind at some point.
Well, in our final moments that we have together, and by the way, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Now that we're best friends, what do you have in the hopper?
I think it would be fun. Well, so at the end of the day, I'm always looking for something challenging. Something new, challenging, maybe I haven't thought of, like something I never thought about playing. But I also think it might be fun to do more of this stuff too. I think there's a demand for these kinds of movies. I see how much joy it brings people to watch this kind of movie. So I can definitely get behind doing another kind of film like this. But on top of that, just something inspiring and challenging.
Yeah. Would you ever consider doing a musical?
I don't sing. If I,
Listen, that didn't stop Pierce Brosnan from doing Mamma Mia. So,
I mean, I would, as long as they knew that I wasn't a classically trained Broadway singer.
This was a lot of fun for me. I just
Oh, good.
a ton of questions, like silly questions that I do.
No, I appreciate it. This has been fun.
I hope to see you in person here at Sundance if you ever come up to Utah.
Yeah, I might next time come. My dad used to live in Utah, so I've been thinking we've been thinking about going and visiting again.
Well, that's I would love to host you. I'll take you to dinner, you and your boyfriend. We'll have some fun. Share a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's plan on it.